These are the sounds from Stevie Wonder. Happy birthday. He dedicated the song to Dr. Martin Luther King. Today I'm celebrating the birthday of some events. Normally you have your treats on the tail end, but I'm going to have these at the beginning. Keep you interested, I hope. I've been nibbling here on strawberries. Represents the red in our flag. Bananas. They don't like to stay out long. Represents the white. Blueberries. Representing the blue. A more sweet treat. I've been nibbling on the here. 5 years ago, an event happened. And 4 years ago, an event happened. So here I'm celebrating the events. Another taste test here. Red velvet cake. Still so good. 5 years ago. Five years ago, on June 18th, 2014, the appellate court wrongfully dismissed my case, Teresa Watson versus East St. Louis School District 189, General Service Employees Local 382, and Kim Haywood. That was the whole case. By the time I made it to the appellate court, they had wrongfully dismissed parts, and so they dismissed what remained. So I more than proved my case, and my case was race, religion, retaliation, sexual harassment, and workplace injuries to my hand and foot matters. So I have other videos out there that tell you all the detail. I mainly just wanted to do something brief that would relate to the 5 years that my case has been dismissed. And I celebrate the ideas, the drive that I still have to always want the millions of dollars that I proved are due to me. After June 18th, 2014, a whole year went by. And on June 17th, 2015, I wrote a letter. A June 17th, 2015 letter. I sent it to two pastors who were on the financial advisory panel for East St. Louis School District 189. They were appointed to those positions in 2012. My case was in the federal court. And I felt that they would come aboard and see that my case was quickly settled in my favor. But that did not happen. In Exhibit 27 and also Exhibit 115, I proved my case. As the federal court advised, I had to prove that the proffered reason was just a pretext for the discrimination, so I did that using Exhibits 27 and 115. And when these pastors were appointed, I just knew that they would say, oh, okay, race, religion, retaliation, sexual harassment, and injuries, workplace-related injury matters to my hand and foot, especially with religion being a part. I just knew that they would come aboard and say, hey, she needs to be paid what's due to her. In Exhibits 27, I used that. The Human Resources Director told the judge who worked for the unemployment office. It was a hearing related to my benefits that were due to me. The judge asked the human resources director of the wrong, why was I terminated? Why was I wrongfully terminated is what I like to emphasize. And the human resources director said it was because I refused to go to an unwarranted setting. The judge asked what was the reason for the unwarranted setting? And the human resources director said it was because of how I was towards a particular female in staff. Then I explained that I had resisted the sexual advances of that female who was placed over me. She was a principal, placed in the role of a principal. I explained that I had resisted her sexual advances and also the others. So, because I refused to go into an unwarranted setting and say why I am not sexually attracted to females, then my job was wrongfully terminated. So I proved that in my case. And I let these pastors know, these two pastors who are on the financial advisory oversight panel, still today, as far as I know. I let them know in this letter, hey, I proved my case. I'm not supposed to be sexually attracted to females in the faith that they are supposed to be in and that the one that I am in. So in this letter, on this copy, I highlighted the portions that really relate to the case, my proving my case. But they have the letter and they never did respond. My other videos talk of that. These are certificates of mailing showing that I did mail those two pastors the letter. And then in October of 2015, there was a strike, and I spoke in the hearings. I spoke in the meetings that they would have, the regular meetings or the special meetings that they would have regarding the strike. A number of the matters most of the matters talked about in the meetings were the strike. The local elected board meeting, and then there was a meeting for the financial advisory board. So the public was invited, and I spoke at the podium. News reporters recorded us. No one has contacted me to help me to have the millions of dollars that I proved are due to me. So those pastors are continuing as we speak to ignore Genesis 19, 1 through 13, Leviticus 18, 22 through 30, Romans 1, 24 through 32, continuing to ignore this. GLR, Genesis, Leviticus, Romans. I am not supposed to be sexually attracted to females in my faith and in the faith that they're claiming. So I never tried to push that on anyone, but as every other commercial seems to be now, opposing what I just shared with you. For some time now, I've been keeping those passages in my purse for anyone who wants them. You know, I'll tear these where where I'll have a number of pieces to distribute. So if anyone wants to read it, you know, and they want it from me, then I give it to them. So when I first went off to college, and here's in October 2015 letter that I sent one of the pastors on the oversight panel, financial advisor oversight panel. He never responded to it either. So when I first went off to college, when I was choosing my classes, I saw sex. And I said, I want to know more about, you know, this particular feeling that comes about. So this graphic kind of relates to it. So it relates also to the scriptures. God has done some awesome work here. It says female sexual response cycle in phases. So initially it's excitement, plateau, and then orgasmic. And then here it says resting. But in my class, it said resolution, where the female needs a break. Like, hold on, brother. Um, Give me a minute before we go another round or two, or however many. And it gave the same stages for the male. So it doesn't say it here, but this is just an idea of what's happening. So God has done some awesome work here. And in the passages that I've shared with you, then this is how, he would prefer things to be. None of us will be perfect, but that's not something that I have a problem with. I love the scriptures and I obey them. So it's not easy when you stand up for what's right. You can be illegally blacklisted in so many areas. So I've seen that in too many areas of my life, every area of my life. So I feel that as people who are in war, people who are standing up for the courts, we deserve, through the courts, we deserve recognition also for standing up for what's right and for trying to have, our rights here in the country and to have other people to be treated fairly because we've stood up for what's right. So here you've got, wars going on around the world. And so they're going on with us too. So America, world, I hope that you will contact me on Facebook, so that I can have justice, so that the people who believe as I do, so that we can have our rights also. On Facebook, you will not see a photo of me. This is what you will see. So I hope that you will contact me. I have reached out to the women, some of the women in the Me Too movement. I've talked to countless pastors and activists from inside and outside of the bi-state area, and people who are in these huge positions, and I'm just being ignored. As I stand up for what's right at different times, the threat level against me increases, the surveillance of me increases. So I hope today that you'll contact me on Facebook. You will not see a picture of me. This is what you'll see. So initially it was this much, but now it's been reduced. And what this graphic is, it's my exhibit number 1 that I used in my case. This is the bear graphic. And then I added the extra text, and it relates to me proving my case. So I hope that you'll contact me on Facebook. This graphic here, it relates to an August 2011 Civil Rights Summit. So I kept it for some years and then used it in my case. Use it to prove my case. Use it to help me to earn compensation in my case. So America, world, I hope to hear from you. And Thank you for watching. Again, June 18th, 2014. My case was wrongfully dismissed from the appellate court. Should have been compensated at the EEOC level. Race, religion, retaliation, sexual harassment, and injuries to my hand and foot matters were the charges in my case. So I used exhibits 27 and 115 to prove that the proffered reason was just a pretext. So I am not sexually attracted to females, and I should not be punished from then until as we speak for not being that way. So again, hope to hear from you. GLR, especially, if you feel like I do about the scriptures, and even if you don't, it's just standing up for what's right. I hope that you'll do that. And thank you for listening. Celebrating 5 years of still standing against all of the odds.